Bloody hell, you know? I mean, some of my poems get a bit dramatic, but not like that. Bloody hell. So, yeah, I'm gonna say some poems if you guys wanna hear. You wanna hear some poetry? I can't really see anyone, but if you guys like it, you can, stand up and scream or something like that. But, try and keep off the stage. Sometimes I get people, coming on the stage and, don't do that, Not like that. Maybe leave it for Paul. So, this first piece is about Sydney, so I hope you guys like it. This is an ode to Erasmus. That old man down the street and in the seat down by Circular Quay who wears pants that parachute out like hammer time, and cowbells round his waist and suspenders over his shoulders, but saves a real suspense for showtime on his street-side island marked out by nothing but the minds of his admirers. He wears this busted-brimmed, wobbly thing on his head, and his fingertips can feel the wind through fingerless mitts that could use some stitch and thread. His hair's as wide as a tough life can make it. And the wrinkles on his skin crush against his cheeks like waves against tourist kids on Bondi Beach. But he wears the cheekiest little grin just above his chin, and a tie around his neck that tells you fashion trends hadn't been a friend of his since he crashed out of the crazy house. But like the Pied Piper, you can't deny the children's smiles as they gather round this buzzing clown who by now has mimed his way through a minefield of suits and suspicion. See, it's a seditious incision on our business sector's busy heart. But this clown's mission isn't to make money, it's to make us laugh. But as the bankers roll past in their black and beige button-downs and whisper through their lips, "Who's this ass?" I say, "He's my dad," and smile back. So as an ode to Erasmus, I read an ode to all the Sydney street graffiti artists who polka dot potholes over Sydney's grey heart, to the musos and beatboxers who open our eyes and remind us just how fun it is to laugh, and to the clowns who remind us again of just how free we are. Because where would we be without laughter? Germany. No, but seriously, next time the bankers roll past when we asked, "Hey, when's the last time you made us laugh?" Helped us invest in a short-term smile, or maybe even some peace of mind, because you don't have to loan your soul for a home, right? That's something Erasmus made sure I know. Thanks, Dad, for being a clown instead of a banker. So, you guys have all been to Germany before? Or at least a few of you have. But I recently came back from Sabah, which is a beautiful state in Malaysia. Not the most written about state, but it's an absolutely beautiful place. And I hope all of you guys get a chance to go there. It's got some of the most beautiful people I ever met. And it's got amazing food, amazing culture, and amazing rainforests. But in Sabah, I've been doing kind of environmental research, been doing a bit of research with indigenous communities there, and been having an amazing time, because recently I've been starting to collaborate with these amazing art groups. A lot of the art groups are made up by young indigenous people as well, and one of the art groups is called Krakow Art Group, another one called Punk Rock Sulap, another one called Takit, and these art groups have been kind of really great kind of advisors to me in beginning to merge some of the research that I'm doing with some artwork that I want to do. Because I've been doing poetry for a while, but I never thought of merging some of the research with art. So over the last year, we've been doing that with a lot of different installations and exhibitions, merging research, merging art, merging dance, merging kind of installation art, merging public art and things like that. And we've been having a lot of fun. And this next piece that I'm going to perform was part of one of those collaborations. So there was a lovely lady called Catherine who was doing research on some of the lives of kids who come from migrant families, who may have come from particular places in the Philippines or Indonesia and moved to Sabah. And unfortunately, because of some mainly political events like we have in Australia, their kind of lifestyles are kind of limited. And we worked with some of these kids and the researcher to kind of figure out a way to represent that. And so I wrote this poem that in the installation went along with some art and went along with some dancing, but hopefully the poem will be enough for you guys tonight, if that's okay. So this next poem is called Driftwood, and I hope you like it. Driftwood, 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 drift. Chipped boardwalks that bend around the sunset edge in between the soil and the sea. Brittle, sun, salt-stained footbridges that break between the ocean walls of nation buildings and take breath at the dead-end streets in between the soil and the sea. Mud pit, marble rings that mold midday kings in the tic-tac and zing that marbles sing like choir bell echoes over this prayer quiet driftwood city that extends over mangrove roots, shallow quicksand coves, and homes away from homes coded into the bones of kids that could never be colored in between the borders of modern-day military mind maps trapped on the grid lines of how it is and how it's meant to be. Kids were never meant to be driftwood dancers, twisted up against tides, their palms lifted up against the waves their parents sailed, forever stained by the peeled-back paint and wind, by the gold-tipped rings, by the sun-kissed curls of where they came from. Driftwood descendants, newborns torn between the earth and their deep-sea roots. Pick my fruit but grow no thorns, they were cornered in between the soil and the sea. Neither welcome nor asked to leave. One in friend, one in enemy. Kids were never meant to be playground trespassing in between schools and the rules that break between the soil and the sea. Close your eyes and you can't reveal the mystery. List for me the last time you stood up and said, "Hey, mister, I see." A new face for fate to paint. A new fate for us to face up to. A new way for the waves to break between the soil and the sea. Driftwood destiny doesn't have to be. Believe me, we all just need to see the driftwood drift. Thank you.